The Feds just recently announced the rate hike.
Yeah.
We've already seen a couple rate hikes this year. What's going to happen?
Well, if they're anything like the last rate hikes, you'll have a very slow progression of sellers unwilling to admit that the rates have increased, which means their asking prices will continue to stay high. We luck out not really being sellers. We have sold some stuff, no question, especially because we've done a good job of stabilizing them. But for the most part, our business plan is to not look into the future and say 3 years from now, this will be our NOI, this will be our sale price. Therefore, we must sell in years 3 or 4. And we have a little flexibility with our sale, not so much for a lot of sellers. And so I feel that it'll take a little bit for the sellers to catch up on that lag, but they will, just like they did the last time. And I think we'll start seeing a little break in the cost of assets. That's my guess. My counter to myself is I feel that what I've seen is a continued effect of the COVID assistance, not to the population, but to the business owner, and the influx of capital into the market. Oftentimes for the business owners and many people that either did or didn't need it, but it allowed them to have extra cash. And now with the stock market being where it is on the relatively, we should all expect. I mean, I have money in the market. I'm not downplaying the benefits of the market, but it's certainly, because it's so real time, because you can wake up and look at your phone and just see exactly what your holdings are. I think we'll see a reaction like we already have with our investors, wanting to get in something a little more steady, or at least know that they can look forward to the future and there'll be a steady increase. So with me saying that and arguing with myself, although I do feel though there's a justification with inflation and the cost of interest rates now driving down, or it should be driving up cap rates, and it should be driving down the values of property, my continued open question is, will it ever catch? Will it ever actually cause people to start selling their assets for less? And will it actually affect the asset values as a whole? Because it seems as though what we've seen this year in 2022 is just an influx of people saying, wow, the last 2 or 3 years have been, well, sincerely unprecedented. And where can I just put my money in an asset that doesn't seem to be as affected, or at least doesn't seem as volatile? And that could just be a how it looks situation, or a realistic situation. And how can I buy an asset that's hard, that I know I can affect what the heck's going on, and it's not going to be affected by whatever is going on in the stock market or Wall Street? So my answer is, I hope as a buyer the prices go down, but with inflation still kind of out of whack, and we're seeing new investors come from all over the place into the real estate realm. I'm really curious what's going to happen with the value of assets. I would land on my long-winded answer. I would land on, there's still never a better time to invest in real estate.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with that more. I mean, especially that last statement. But it depends on the debt you're getting. It depends on your business plan as well. And you started speaking on this. The syndicators and the other real estate investors that got into this with a horizon in which they're telling their investors, hey, year 3, we're done. This property's dead to us. We're going to turn 50 of the units, or 50% of the units. We're going to get our NOI up. Things were selling at a 5.5 cap before. I'm guessing they're still selling at a 5.5 cap. Interest rates are the same, and underwriting their projected pro formas the same as it was 3 years ago. I think some people are going to get burned. With that, I do think that Wall Street is also really hungry to deploy some capital. People are hungry. There's become an even larger wealth divide through COVID, based on inflation, not only all the money that the government printed, which led to inflation, but we're seeing people that held on to assets just get incredibly wealthy. I mean, look at the billionaires, and I mean, many of them have doubled their net worth during this time period. So they're trying to deploy capital to, one, fight inflation, so they're not just sitting on cash, but two, reap all the different benefits, et cetera, and have a safe haven of real estate. So it's an interesting time. I wasn't around in the last crash, so
you were alive.
I was alive, and I was working at Starbucks as a barista. So
Gosh, what haven't you done?
So, and I was a bar back at night. So between my $9 an hour job at Starbucks and $5.15 an hour plus tips, the overall destruction of the economy, I still had a couple $100 in my bank account, and it stayed pretty flat. So I didn't feel the effect so much. So no, it's interesting. And, they're talking about another rate hike after this one. I think it really, really surprised everybody, the first 75 basis point hike. And I think, that's when the market kind of, got jolted. When was that? Back in April?
Gosh,
or May or...
The first hike?
Yeah, the first hike.
I think it was more recent than April.
Okay.
May, June.
Okay. And then they did the second hike, which I think that their experiment was,
gosh.
all right, let's give them the first one, see the market freak out. Hey, well, we know we can do it again. So, I mean, I've heard...
But it didn't. So I heard somebody break this down the other day. It actually didn't affect it. So, gosh, this whole timeline is a little fuzzy to me because it's just so drastic. Like you and I can admit that like we weren't investing in multifamily in 2005 or 8 or 9. And so, how the markets were affected then, I can only read books and or listen to podcasts or listen to people who lived through it. We have lived through this, and there's been a steady theme. This is unprecedented. There is no question that what's happened this year, it has not happened for decades upon decades. And so dealing with that extremely large change in how the entire asset and investment opportunity has been viewed upon and or affected by the market, it's difficult to make decisions moving forward. What I will say is, and man, what's his name? I wish I could quote him right now. I think his book's My Life in 1,000 Houses. I think it's his name. He says, I don't care what happens, because one thing I can count on if I have invest in real estate, you'll always need a place to live, period. Like, if Bitcoin is the new thing, pay me your rent in Bitcoin. If grass and gold are the new thing, pay me in grass and gold, but you need a place to live. And that's why this is not like some type of checkmate saying I want to have grass and gold 10 years from now. It's that it's easy to say, I tried investing in this hoverboard company, and hoverboards were surpassed within 2 years. Like, nobody cared about it. Like, it's hard to fathom a situation where someone doesn't need a place to live. And that's why I think that people smarter than us, large institutions who are in charge of investing thousands of people's money, BlackRock, multi-trillion, I'm talking so much money, are soaking up into their balance sheet as much real estate as possible, because it's like, this is a fixed asset. People need a place to live. And maybe they know something we don't know about, how the affordability is going to get out of whack where nobody can afford anything. And who are they going to pay rent to? The landlords. And so that's why you and I have leaned into this. We leaned into COVID, and it's been extremely successful for us. I know that's unfortunate to say. I'm not saying we're like this medicine or this company that capitalized off of COVID. We just said, wow, we're just starting to really hit that hockey stick up on our business. Should we stop buying properties in the middle of COVID? And we said, no, we believe in what I've just said over the last 5 minutes. Let's lean into this. It's great to see companies who've been doing this for decades upon decades do the same thing. Everyone's putting their money into real estate. And I think that speaks a lot.